It was calm. I tell you, calm. There was no wave. There was really calm. But ironic, water was coming through the Christina. Like on the boat was so low that you can see the water seeping in, which was, I don't know if that was normal, but that was something that kind of stood out in my mind. And there was some superstition on the boat because I remember this guy, I don't remember the name, and he was intoxicated, but he was talking and he keeps saying, there's a black jumbie on the boat, there's a black, do you remember that very well?
Demons be on the boat. Yeah, demons up on the boat. When Christina sink down, the man in the suit of black.
This that affected the lives of virtually everybody on both islands, one way or the other. You know, people lost breadwinners, the families, you know, sometimes you see a house closed and you only realize that that person was on the Christina when it didn't open. It had an impact on the island that will never be forgotten.
I still can't figure it out. All the men then, when they drum, they're facing up, and all the women facing down.
The first fellow I caught up with, I learned later, his name was Llewellyn Martin, and he put up his hands in the air. He said, "Tell me, mother, I drowned."
When we went down to the bayfront, and where the Pelican Mall is, there's a building there. That was the bayfront, and that's where the Nevis market ladies used to set up shop. They had awnings over them, and they had these booths. And they were all characters, wonderful characters. My wife was with me, we went down, and it was all empty. They weren't there. In later years, when I've come to live in Nevis, I realized that there wasn't a family in Nevis that wasn't touched profoundly by the loss of their children and grandchildren. And I've never forgotten the experience. 40 years later, it still affects me.
He draft the baby out of my hand. She was just 2 years old. So I draft her out of my hand. And then I find myself in the water, bubbling up. But I still was lucky enough to climb back on the same Christina. You know, so you know they had the raft, you know, so I was holding on, and he had a lady in front of us. I don't remember her name now. But she's saying, look what Bunting take our poor souls and do with it.
The first person I saw jump over was one of the mates from the boat called Frank Tyson. And I saw him jump over. Then is when I panicked and realized, well, something was definitely wrong.
I could recall the brother of a butcher who came to us, the coroner and myself, and told us that his brother was a passenger of the ill-fated Christina, and that his brother had gone down with thousands of dollars because he had done his work at the Bastia public market in selling his meat, and he was going back to Nevis to pay some of the people he had got the animals from, and that this brother who was talking to us felt that he would like to perhaps get the opportunity, if his brother's body came up, to get the money out of his pockets. The coroner said no, but in sympathy, I said to him, if you identify that body, come, bring a sharp knife. You're not to explore the body, just cut out the pockets and see what money you can get. In time he shouted, "This is my brother." And he rushed and he grabbed the pants and he cut the pockets out of the pants. The money was all, of course, water soaked, but he didn't mind. But what did he do? He followed that box on that particular flatbed truck to the cemetery, because he said that was not all the money. So he went up to the cemetery, and that made me understand a little about human nature. That he was prepared to desecrate his brother's body for money which he thought his mother had. And so it was that when the time came for that contingent of bodies to be covered over, he went down into the hole and he ripped the cover of the plywood box out, emptied his brother in the hole, and again started to rummage for money from his brother. This is one of the episodes